Hey guys, Greg here. On the Vinyl Rundown today, I'm going to talk about some documentaries I watched recently, music documentaries. And just as I was sitting down to research some of the titles I've been watching, Mazzy mentioned that I've been talking about documentaries, and I've been kind of lax in getting those videos done. The problem is I watched so many. I watched like 7 or 8 in the last couple weeks. I watched more than I can review, and then I get caught up in all these contest videos, and I'm behind schedule. So here's a quick list of the documentaries that I've watched, and I'm going to probably concentrate on only 1 or 2 today. We'll see how many I get through. Still Bill, about Bill Withers. Who Killed Kurt Cobain? I forget what it's called. There's a million of those. I think we all know the answer. Rock and Roll is Dead. That's a YouTube documentary that just came out in the last couple weeks. One called The Case of the Three-Sided Dream. And that is all about Rahsaan Roland Kirk, the jazz musician. That might be one I talk about tonight. People are already yawning and turning the channel. Yeah, there might be some jazz, so stay tuned. Paul Stanley, Face the Music, which was on audio. And Genghis Blues, the story of a blind blues musician's journey into the lost world of tuba throat singing. Barn burner? Interesting. And here's the one I wanted to start with tonight. It's called All Things Must Pass. Has nothing to do with George Harrison. It's about something very important that passed through our lives a few years ago. Tower Records. The rise and fall of Tower Records. Since I worked at record stores in the early 80s, here's one of them. Licorice Pizza. A rival to... my chair's squeaky, I'm sorry. I'm not going to move, guys. Very squeaky chair. I'm trying to sit down for the first time. But we got to get a better chair. Where was I? Tower Records. Yeah, I worked at 3 different record stores in the early 80s. And Tower Records was a bigger, more well-known store. Everybody knows it became a worldwide phenomenon, but it didn't end well. Licorice Pizza, on the other hand, was actually a more well-managed store, at least financially. The owner, Jim Greenwood, sold the store for, I guess, millions and millions of dollars. It was a chain of probably 25 or so different stores. He sold the store, whereas Tower Records did not survive, and this documentary goes into that rise and fall. If you're interested in the history of music, why vinyl records went away and why record stores went away, this documentary is important for you to watch. By the way, it was directed by Colin Hanks, the son of Tom Hanks, and Colin Hanks has also done some acting work. You've seen him on what was that show? I don't remember. Tom Hanks was just in a nice documentary about typewriters. Maybe I'll review that too. Typewriters and vinyl records. All about the obsolete technology. Anyway, let me get back to this Tower Records documentary. Oh, one quick factoid. I did work at Licorice Pizza. That's where I met my wife. But I interviewed at Tower Records, and they didn't hire me. When I was going to UCLA, living in Santa Monica, the guy had the nerve to tell me I didn't know enough about country music. Okay, who's buying country music? Westwood, UCLA, Santa Monica in the early 80s. I don't even know if they had a country music section, but whatever. All things happened for a reason. I got to work at Licorice Pizza instead of Tower Records, where I met my lovely wife. And anyway, let's get back to the documentary. So this is a story of this guy named Russ Solomon, who started the store. It really kind of grew out of his dad's pharmacy in Sacramento, like one of these old-fashioned drugstores that had, the soda fountain that the high school students would come hang out at. And they had a jukebox, and there was all these record singles lying around, and the jukebox guy would say, yeah, you can have those for a couple pennies. And so he would sell used records. And anyway, this is that early story. Turned into a record store. Well, let's bypass that portion. It's interesting trivia, but it's not as relevant to the whole history of Tower Records as a store. Tower Records eventually expanded from Sacramento to different cities throughout California, and then throughout the country and throughout the world, in Japan. But the most famous store back in the day was Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. It was right in the heart of the music business. And I went there. I used to go there back in the day, and really cool experience shopping in that store. And because it was near the music business, the heart of the music business in Hollywood, and especially Sunset Strip, the clubs, the Roxy, all those places right down the street. A lot of famous musicians and celebrities would come in there. There's a whole scene with Elton John, who used to come to the store like every Thursday morning. They would open the store early for him, and he and his chauffeur would walk around, and if he saw a record he liked, he'd buy like 4 or 5 copies. He had to have one for each house. Kind of a wealthy dude. Dave Grohl makes an appearance. He had his first job at Tower Records, one of his first jobs, because as a long-haired hippie it was easy to get hired there. The story of this record, store and the chain was really based on the personality of this really interesting and exciting, fun guy, Russ Solomon, who was like an impresario of, hey, we're having a good time, we're having fun, it's a cool place to work, you can hang out, you can have long hair, you can dress however you want, you can get as drunk or stoned as you want at work, just try to keep it to a minimum, especially the getting stoned part. And that ended up being part of his downfalls, that he was not necessarily a sharp businessman. He knew how to have fun, he knew how to get people excited about coming in the store, he knew how to let the kids run it and let the kids imbue the experience with their personality and their knowledge of music. So the cool thing about Tower, it was very uncorporate. I worked at another record chain that was very corporate and dull called The Warehouse. Very dull place, It was a rival to both Tower and Licorice Pizza, but it just had no personality. It had to do with corporate management versus local, kind of hip and cool management. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit, but this is a must-see documentary if you're in the vinyl community. I should have stated this at the beginning of the review. If you're interested in vinyl records, in the history of vinyl records, in the history of the music business, and the kind of rise and fall of the music business, this documentary is a must-see. And by the way, I saw it for free on Pluto TV, which is one of these free streaming apps on my phone. But you can certainly pay for it. You're welcome to pay for it. It's available on all the usual channels. I don't want to tell you the whole story. I want you to watch the documentary. It's really interesting. A lot of interviews with former employees who were there from like day one. I was just some hippie kid and I got hired in the mailroom, and now I'm the director of marketing or whatever. That kind of a great story where people started with a business from the beginning to the end, and they got to see it grow, and they got to make some money as it grew. Anyway, if you're a record collector, a longtime record collector like I am, Tower Records was a big part of your past, and was a very sad day when it went out of business. And I used to go to the going out of business sales too. I got piles of stuff for pennies on the dollar at the going out of business sale. I still have some of those records lying around. I mean, they sold, down to the bare bones, the furniture and the shelving and the posters and everything. Didn't mean to give you a spoiler. In case you didn't know, they're not in business anymore. But Licorice Pizza, Jim Greenwood, like I said, he was a better businessman because he sold the company and probably made millions. And I used to actually live behind Tower Records in Sherman Oaks, which is in Los Angeles. Ironically, that Tower Records location closed down, and it was taken over by this guy, Jim Greenwood. Opened another store there called Oz, which is a gift store, nothing to do with music. Kind of I don't know. I don't want to insult it, but not as cool as a record store. It's a gift shop, But same location. And then the tower that was there moved down to the Sherman Oaks Galleria. Valley Girl, that song about that Galleria. Sherman Oaks, right on the corner of Ventura Boulevard and Sepulveda. Anyway, my history with record stores in Los Angeles goes back a long time. Tower Records, you got to watch this movie. It's called All Things Must Pass. And I'm not going to give you the spoiler of why they titled the movie this, but obviously all things, including Tower, have passed onto the great beyond. And please watch the documentary. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you guys think of the concept of documentaries, music documentaries on the VC. First one I did was about Prince. I don't think it was that well received, but I don't think the documentary was exactly a barn burner. So I don't know if the lack of interest in that documentary was because of a lack of interest in Prince or a lack of interest in that particular movie. My son said it was just because I don't make good videos, so I don't know. But some do better than others. I'd like to figure out why. Let's see. The other documentary that I wanted to share with you is about Rahsaan Roland Kirk, the jazz musician who was blind and played 4 or 5 or 6 instruments at once. I think I'll leave that for another video because we're already up to 10 or 11 minutes here, guys. So thanks for watching. Let me know your comments. Please go watch this movie, All Things Must Pass, the story of the rise and fall of Tower Records. And what else can I tell you? Record stores are almost gone. They're coming back. That's the good news. We here in the VC have taken it upon ourselves to fight the good fight and let people know that record stores are still out there and get people interested in collecting records again. But it's a lot of work. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think, and I will check you later. Bye-bye.